Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
Chat's getting testy. Sorry, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a testy show.
Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding. What up, YouTube, and welcome to issue 169 or episode 169 of Two Fat Guys Pull List live. Nice, right? Nice.
I feel like we've hit 169 like at least 5 times in a row now.
No, we haven't. We've hit. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Maybe
what
it's
if
1 and 2. I don't know.
maybe numbering is it's all just a fallacy. It's all made up and nothing's real, and we're all in a simulation. And wow, it's getting
Well,
heavy
that's
for a
true.
lot. This is all true. Anyway, guys, welcome to the most latest live issue of Two Fat Guys Pull List. Welcome, especially if you're here live. But if you're here watching as a previous episode, we appreciate you watching, coming by, and checking it out. But make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. That'd be much appreciated because we're trying to do some stuff. But before we get to that, let's talk about our show's sponsor, and that is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. Ron and Brent have 3 amazing stores, one in Irving, one in Hearst, and the other in Fort Worth. And they are great places to go if you're looking for comics, toys, card games, dice, back issues, new issues, manga, pops,
And
models,
your favorite.
plushies,
There it is.
anything. I mean, they've got everything, guys. So if you're ever just got an urge or you want to go support a small business and you're here in the DFW area, go over to Collected Comics and Games in the DFW area. I said that twice, but you can also support it if you're not in the DFW area, and you can go to staycollected.com and you can buy all that stuff that I just mentioned on their website. So please head on over to Collected Comics and Games here, either locally or on the webs, on the intertubes, and go to staycollected.com and go support one of the coolest comic book shops in the world. Also, we got to talk about our show, our sub goal giveaway of 1,250 subscribers. That's right. When we hit 1,250 subscribers, we're giving away a slab, and not just any slab, a signed slab, a CGC 9.8 Uncanny X-Men slab signed by Jim Chung. Can't speak tonight. Kind of hard when we have a show that we just talk. Anyway, we're giving this away when we hit that sub goal of 1,250 subscribers, but we can't do it without your help. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. Also, when we hit 2,000 subscribers, guys, when we hit 2,000 subscribers, CGC grade 9.8 Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant with the Chosen, the Allfather, the Almighty, the Great One, Donny Cates, signed by the great Donny Cates. We are giving it away at 2,000 subscribers, so please hit that sub button.
I said this last time too, but there's a chance that dude never signs a slab again.
Yeah, he may be done. So this thing is very at the moment, as we continue to go through seasons and we go through con seasons, and he doesn't show up to those things, these signatures from Donnie become more and more valuable. So hit that sub button, you could get one. We got a great show tonight, a really good week in comics. We'll also be talking about X-Men 97.
I did it.
I'm so stoked. I'm so glad that you watched it.
All in one gulp.
That's great. And I know, again, I get it. You're
What's up, Hector?
What's up, man? From Del Rio, Texas. What up, man? My grandparents are from Del Rio. My mom's from Del Rio. I love Del Rio. Del Rio's great. It's a great place. I had many a summer in Del Rio. I know that you know, you're watching it. You're essentially watching this cartoon for the first time because you never watched the original series back in the 90s on Saturday morning. So like, I can tell, like, I know that you're going to be, I'm not going to say lost, but there is a disconnect, right? Like the intro for the show probably doesn't hit as hard for you as it does for a lot of people that grew up watching the show. But
probably not as hard, but I still understood the like.
And it slaps.
It still was a throwback to me. I've seen that original.
Yeah. And that intro slaps. Like, I love it. And I love all the Instagrams and TikToks of people my age, you know, in their mid to late 30s, pretending it's Saturday morning with a big old bowl of cereal. And they're like, Marvel, get rid of the skip button. Like, I'm never touching that thing. And I never would. Also, they throw in snippets of what's to come in the series, which I'm super stoked. So, like, it's such a great show. It's amazing. What Up 99, my pick last week, Rook Exodus from Ghost Machine. I have that book. I didn't get to it this week, but I need to read it.
I feel like I might need to jump back on that little system.
Well,
that little store, whatever.
Yeah, jumping to that before we get back to 97. That's a $3.99 book, and it is premium when it comes to what it's made out of. Like, and it's thick. It's a thick boy. So yeah, I need to read it. Ron at the shop was like, you gotta check this out. I was like, oh, I'm definitely checking it out. I just didn't get to it this week. Busy week. Anyway, back to 97. Yeah, so what's your first impressions? How do you feel about it? Like, do you like it overall? Are you impressed? Are you dissatisfied? What's your general feel?
So my first impressions were easy entertainment. I was happy with that. I found myself nitpicking a little bit.
Okay.
For some reason, the voice acting for everyone is totally off for me. Nobody sounds like how I imagine they should sound. Not even close. Like, Jean's fine. Cyclops, let's see. Okay, not everyone. Jubilee, Jean, Bishop, they're good. Beast is okay. But it really just bothered me. Like, Rogue and Gambit really bothered me how wrong they were in my head's perception. Storm was
okay. I see what you're saying.
I guess I'll save the big one for last. I really enjoyed the way that they gave us nods to like big comic book moments without making you need to have known what's going on in those comics to figure out everything. Like throwing in Trial Magneto, that was awesome. Life Death, which did you get to the fourth episode?
Yeah, I just watched it today. Just like literally watched it before we got on.
Have you read that two-parter Bernie Windsor Smith Life Death, or when Storm and Forge are together? Oh, I loved that. I loved that throwback to that's like one of the most one of the best parts of Claremont's era to me.
Yeah, Hector. Yeah, so Rogue and Wolverine are the original voice actors, but you can definitely tell. Like, I kind of agree with your assessment there, but you're saying it more of like you just don't imagine them to sound like that. But I agree in the sense that they have lost. It doesn't sound the same. I like the nod that the producers and that Disney has done and said, you know what, we're bringing them back, even though they actually had to. Wolverine and Rogue, I both believe, had to what's it called? They had to re-audition to get on the show. They weren't shoo-ins. But I will say, like, when you hear Wolverine come on, like, he just doesn't have that same, like, he doesn't sound like he does in the games. He doesn't sound like he sounds in the original show. And I think that's just age. That's just age.
And that's, like I said, that's nitpicky stuff. I mean, I got over it by the second episode, but it's fine. Well, I haven't gotten over Rogue's voice. Like, I understand she's got that, like, the thicker accent. She does not sound like an idiot. Like, this Rogue sounds like she's like, it's very weird to me. Now, of course, no one here is going to be surprised by this, but all of these things, you know, there's a lot of good things. I love the comic book tie-ins. I love getting to see these characters I enjoy actually in some type of live action in some way. Even though it's animation, it's still not just, you know, like my imagination doing the work.
right.
the extra, you know. But the Cyclops apologetics was enough to make me almost turn it off. The whole turn, like, no, in this one he was tricked. He really thought it was Jean the whole time instead of it actually being Madeline Pryor. Because like in the comics, in case you didn't know, Cyclops knows the entire time it's Madeline Pryor. Like that, he thinks it's a separate person. He doesn't think he's also with Jean.
Right.
He thinks Jean is dead. He's with Madeline Pryor.
I agree.
Has
Empire,
a
by
kid
the
with
way.
her. Huh?
No, I'm commenting on Empire's comment.
Oh, gotcha. And so the apologetics for Cyclops for me is appalling. It's absolutely appalling. It's like this, and like the writers are they know how much of a dick Cyclops is and how much people don't like him.
Right.
They make half the team beat him up. That's great, but it doesn't matter. The apologetics, the total reconstruction of the identity of the character just bums me out, I guess. Whatever.
I think
I
what
hate
it
Cyclops so much.
No, and I think I love it. I love that you have that passion, and I think that's why you're still gonna come back, even though like he's a total dick. Like, and it's so like in the show, like after the Madeline Pryor episode, and he's like, I can't do this, and he like leaves the baby even though he doesn't want to leave the baby. It's like, dude, come on. But it's Cyclops. I think Cyclops and Xavier both are like those characters that just you love to hate. There's certain people that just love to hate them, and
I don't love to hate them. It bothers me that I hate
it bothers
them.
that you hate them, like because you want to like them.
It would provide less stress in my life than every time I turn a mutant comic, I see his face and I get like PTSD.
Okay, all right.
No, it would be much better if I just liked the guy.
Well, okay, put that aside. Okay, just put that part aside. When he shows up in this show in the first episode, like the moves they made him do were fucking awesome. Like when he's shooting the floor and he's basically like discoing around with his lasers, like that was fucking sick. Like so good. But that being said, I think the show is amazing. I literally watched this most recent episode like right before the show. And the amount of nostalgia and throwback to the original Children's of the Atom Nintendo game when they're in the Mojoverse, in the Mondo Nintendo. So this is something that you never played the game. So like when the Sentinels drop in, right? Like, and they're actually in the 8-bit version and they have the different colors. Those are the like in the game. Those colors are in the game. Like those versions of the Sentinels are in the game.
That's cool.
So like there's just a lot of cool detail that, you know, like you're saying, like there's obviously really cool nods and details to the comics. There's nods and details to the original show. There's nods and details towards the video games. And I just think we're like every episode is just jam-packed with more and more content that you could watch it over and over again and you'd probably catch something new. I'm loving Magneto. I just love it. His first, obviously his trial was just effing epic. And just his dedication to his friend, you know, I thought was really cool. And just him, you know, referencing Xavier and saying, all right, I'm going to try it your way. I'm going to try it. You know, it doesn't mean it's going to work. But overall, I love it. And I'm glad that you're finally watching it. I cannot wait to, you know, because obviously Cable's showing up. Like it's a given that he's going to show up. We're going to get long-haired Bishop at some point. You know, and just and the thing is like I remember when this got announced and they announced the lineup and you're like, oh, like this is great. I love these mutants, but man, I wanted more. Like I want more. And now we're like getting into the episodes and we're getting more. We're like, you know, little cameos here and there, but there's no reason that we won't get more, you know? And like I didn't expect Forge to show up. Not in the slightest. Like when he showed up no, I just didn't. Like I didn't know where they were going. And so when he showed up, I was like, oh shit, we get Forge.
I think that got like a touch ruined because I saw the title of the episode was Life Death, and that's like the title of that arc.
Right.
In the comics. So I was
Right.
like, oh shit, Forge.
Now, remind me, Forge isn't from the future, right?
No.
So they're talking about an iteration of the team because in that episode, in the most recent episode, Forge has got a picture with all of the mutants that he was on with the team. It was like Mr. Strong, Wolfsbane.
Yeah, that's the X Factor.
That's crazy. Like, because
That's
I don't
Peter
think...
David X Factor, the investigation team.
Gotcha. Well, they never showed. I mean, I don't remember them in the original cartoon.
The continuity and the timelines in this are loose at best. I think
Right.
they're just kind of including things as they want and just saying, just shut up about it.
Right.
Yeah.
John, thank you for the super chat. I don't know why
Ooh.
the notifications is coming on, but thank you so much. He says, I actually didn't have a pick of the week. Ghost Machine, X3, Jed McKay, X3. There it is. She-Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man, Venom, all worthy in different ways. I agree. It's just, we have to make that, unfortunately, we have to make that tough decision. Oh, there it was. There it popped up. It's Rogue kissing Gambit. Freaking love it. What up, Calvin? But yeah, so I'm glad. I'm glad that you're watching it. I'm glad that we get to talk about it, and I'm super stoked for next week's episode because what the hell happened at the end of that thing? Like, it was some kind of demon that's... Do we know what that demon is that's taking over Storm? Or is that the Shadow King? Or is that something different?
Well, if they're doing what is from the comics, he is a Native American entity that has the past issues with Forge.
Gotcha. So do we think that Forge is going to be able to restore her abilities? Like, does that happen? Or
that's what happens in the comics.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what'll happen here. But yeah, he is able to figure something out. I don't remember.
I really hope, like, I obviously hope that happens, but like, I hope that, you know, we've been playing with this idea of Storm being more than just a mutant, but being like an actual witch or sorceress, you know, with Scarlet Witch, like her being a magical being as well. I kind of hope we dive into that. Like, I hope we get a little bit of a sense of that when her powers get reignited. Because I am liking that. Like, ever since we got into the Krakoan era and Scarlet Witch kind of proclaimed, like, hey, you are more than just a mutant. Like, you have this connected ability towards magic. I just hope we kind of dive into that. I mean, that's a big ask because we're clearly... That's the other thing. And I was wondering if you were going to have this comment or not, or if you were going to be cool with it. You know, they're covering a lot. You know, they're covering, you know, Madeline Pryor, literally, like, they rushed through that.
Yeah, I mean, with this, I kind of figured that we're not really going to have a ton of time for that. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I could understand how some people who aren't familiar with these stories would be like, whoa, this is going really quickly. Since I know these stories and love these stories, I love that we're essentially just doing Claremont right now. Like, we're not really doing anything else. It's just Claremont. It's like, that's what I've read. Like, I've literally only read Claremont's run, which is a 17-year run. It's a long run. And then Krakoa. I haven't read anything in between. And so I love that we're doing all these stories that are like the foundation of like Marvel and mutant history for me. I think it's great. Getting to see like the Morlocks show up, even having Morph transform into different mutants, like, loved that. I thought that was so cool just to get to see Psylocke do a scissor kick and shit like that. Was Morph a part of the original show?
Morph, yes. Morph is like...
Was he really?
Yeah, he's one of the pivotal figures in the original season, because he ends up getting killed by a Sentinel and then being brought back by Sinister, and then he ends up infiltrating the team again. If I remember correctly, he infiltrates the team as like an agent of Sinister, and then shit gets...
He is my favorite by far of everyone.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like, I think right now, and I would have never said this as a kid, but currently, Storm and Jubilee are my favorite at the moment. Like Storm with the new haircut, like, she's and like when she gets shot and she doesn't have her, and she's like, the wind, like, dude,
Yeah,
like,
that
tears.
was rough.
The thing that got me this most recent episode was Sunspot and Jubilee making out. Like, I was literally like, my kids were watching Bluey in my bed, and I was sitting next to them on my iPad, and that happened, and I was like, oh like, I had to like dang girl, get it. But anyway, I thought it was great. All right, let's get to chat. Calvin, the X Factor episode was the only episode with Iceman in the OG series. All right. John, I hope Deadpool shows up towards the end of the season as rumored. That would be dope. I've got to assume that this version of the X-Men, the 97 animated versions, will show up in the Deadpool movie, because I know that movie's going to be nuts. And there's any reference and any all reference that they can use, I'm sure will pop up in that show. Crap, I forgot. Add Deadpool #1 on my worthy list. We'll talk about that. We'll get to that. I'm interested to hear what people have to say about that. But yeah. All right, let's get to it. First off, we're going to kick into our independents. And first, we're gonna start the show with Boom Studios' Grimm issue number 16 from Stephanie Phillips. We said it in our pre-show notes. Individually, this issue is fantastic. It tells a great story. Gives you a little bit of insight if you weren't aware of just a form of PTSD and what people of a very tiny version with very scrappy details. I'm sure if you really wanted to get into someone that actually went through the traumas of war, I'm sure we could there could be an entire omnibus of this issue. But I thought it was a really good single issue on dealing with what this issue dealt with, which was we've got this priest who was a soldier in the Afghan war, and lost a friend, is dealing with a form of PTSD and has some trauma, and
I think the irony of a priest who has survivor's guilt so bad that he still has it when he's dead, that's pretty bad. Like that's pretty fucked up. So there's no wonder he's got PTSD.
But as for moving the plot of Grimm, again, I think if we're reading this as a complete collected edition, a complete story, then this issue probably slaps, within the context of it. But as because we have breaks and we're going month to month after we get off the break, it just feels like the story has stalled. Like I if my memory wasn't as good, I wouldn't know. Like reading this issue, I would be like, wait, what are we doing? It's just it doesn't feel connected whatsoever. You've got Jessica and her team, but you don't know why.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I don't remember what we were doing in issue 15. I don't remember what the big hook was.
Well, even issue 15
either.
Issue 15 was one of these issues where it was kind of a floaty, kind of doing something else thing. I think the most recent, or the issue that had some kind of plot movement, was the girl that the Reaper that was able to get Jessica and her friends back to hell or wherever, betrayed them, and then she ended up getting possessed by a plant thing, and now she's a big monster, right? Right. That was that was the only thing that kind of moved the plot forward. Now we're doing these it just feels like we're in a filler arc, but the filler has something to do with the story. We just don't know what it is. And maybe as we get to another issue where we actually move plot, that these issues will make sense. But as a connective issue, it didn't slap for me.
Yeah, I mean, what did slap for me was the art, so I gave it a little bit of bump in my rating for that. I don't know. I trust Stephanie Phillips. I think even if we're at a little bump here, it'll all play out.
I agree. Empire Jubilee making out with Sunspot threw me off, but I'm like, he's gay in the comics though. I don't know.
Bad change.
You're right. I love Grimm, but get frustrated at the quick read. It always leaves me wanting more. Right, John? Yeah. We just need some connectivity. A little bit of connectivity. Connective tissue would be greatly appreciated. But yeah. John says, Empire, I thought Sunspot was bi. I need to brush up on my character history because I don't even know.
I mean, I know that there's samples of him dating both, but I don't know what the final word was.
Interesting.
If there is.
All right. Let's keep moving. The One Hand issue number 3. Yep.
That's next.
Yeah, for sure. There were some good books this week, but it was not close on Big This is just, I mean, in a lot of ways, this is the same as of what we've been doing the whole time, right? It continues to keep doing all the things I want it to do. The mystery keeps getting deeper. The shit that you're not expecting to happen keeps happening. Somehow Romby is still keeping up with all of his side plots too. He still finds room to bring in the android lady and get her, see what's going on there. Now, what I do want to say one thing. This, when it first started off, when we thought, neo-noir detective story in space, everyone should have immediately thought Blade Runner, right? Because that's the quintessential example of this. And Romvi's, I think, at this point, pretty much doing an exact nod to Blade Runner, if not like, I mean, I would never
almost
accuse him of like
right
copying it with trying to get away with it. Like, I think he's clearly saying, "Hey, like Blade Runner."
This
right?
is my
And,
yeah.
But like doing the whole thing with the, you did read this, right?
Mm-mm.
No,
No, I've been off.
of this.
Yeah, I've been off. I understand. Listen, guy. Listen. Okay. Look, man. Like, things have changed a little bit, and so I had to make some cuts, and I'm living through you in your telling of this.
Okay, well, he finds her,
Okay.
and she's working in a factory, and
his sex bot, right?
his sex bot. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
okay,
finds her, and she's working in a factory. Except she's going by a different name, and she doesn't recognize him. She doesn't remember, and he doesn't be like, "Oh, do you like, you don't remember who I am?" And then tries to remind her. He just basically tells her, "Oh, I'm investigating a missing person," and he uses her old name, and he basically says like, he starts talking to her, and she basically is like, "Oh, well, maybe she just decided to run away. Maybe she decided the life she was living wasn't good enough for her, and she ran away. And then one day she found a way for all of that to go away and for her to forget. And if I was a detective looking for her, I would probably leave her alone to make sure that she got to live out that dream she wanted to do." And like, but the way it's told isn't that quite overt, but it makes you think like, "Oh shit, maybe she does recognize him. Maybe she's really starting her life over and is trying to tell him, like, I just want to start over. I've got this whole thing." So I thought that was really cool. Also, the shit kind of hits the fan with our murder mysteries. So the detective, Ari, goes to the prison where the guy that he put away for these murders is.
Right.
And they sit down and this dude just like, in a very good way, a very intense way, just kind of waxes poetic about life and like implications of individual perceptions of reality, and just all these like really big head things. And Ari's just kind of like what are we doing here? And the guy's like, "Trust me, like you'll understand." And he gets up and starts walking backwards out of the cage, because like Ari, the detective's wanting to continue. He's like wanting to continue this conversation. And the warden or the guard is like, "Nope, your time's over." And the guy's like, "Don't you know who I am? Like, I'm a detective. Like, I'm literally here. Like, why are you stopping me?" And the guy backs up, and as the killer that's been put away backs up, he's just like basically staring at him. He's like, "Don't take your eyes off me. Keep looking." And as he's backing up, people burst through the door and start shivving the shit out of him, just like blood everywhere. And the artist takes a book, a page out of Sorrentino's work from like, what is that book? Really scary. With Jeff Lemire. Fuck, someone in the chat tell me what that book is.
Silver Coin?
But like, huh?
Silver Coin?
That really Gideon Falls. It's very much like that blocky, like it makes it feel like it's not reality, like almost like you're doing like a Matrix glitch in your
right
sort of a thing.
Nice.
Anyway, Ari's looking back and listening to the tape on this guy's conversation. He basically is like hinting at, what if your killer is what are those androids? I can't think of what they're called. He's basically like, what if, and so Ari starts like taking that and running. He's like, holy shit, what if these killers are these androids? And like then they're like being mind wiped or something, and they don't know what's happening. And his partner's like, no, like when we get, like, we would know like when we get the bodies or whatever, like we would know what's going on. And of course Ari, who has been now removed from the case because he went when he shouldn't have into the prison, the guy gets shanked, he's off the case. He goes to the hospital where the guy is, because apparently he's still barely making it. And the final panel is like him walking into the hospital room, and the dude is literally in the hospital where there's just regular people walking around. The dude's body is chopped up into pieces, stacked on a neat pile with his head little slanted on the top, and the symbols are on the back wall again. And like the blood is still dripping down the wall. It's obviously so fresh. And Ari's like, building.
And that's the guy with the finger, right?
Yeah. The guy that's doing the killing.
Yeah, the guy that's fucked up because of the toxic
I mean, we know
waste.
he's doing. I guess we don't know for a fact because we're not given scenes of him doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it's him.
Fuck, dude.
But is the dude reject or robot thing? Whatever.
Damn.
It is heating up so hardcore. It was.
Also,
I read it, and even though it was a long read, like a 15-20 minute read, like as soon as I closed it, it was like, oh my god, this story.
Don't want to miss this. We totally missed Patty's comment at the beginning.
Oh, shit.
I hope everyone had a wicked good week. Be careful tomorrow with the eclipse. If you're in that zone, I hope don't miss it. Don't miss it. Gotta drive to Toronto Airport, like right in the middle of it. Damn, dude.
We are literally in the complete path of totality.
Yeah. Well, we're not.
GFW.
But we're not in the dead center. I think dead center is like right at Midlothian and then a little south of Midlothian. Like they get the full. They almost get 5 minutes of like darkness.
Okay, where I'll be in Mansfield, we get 4 minutes and 32.
Right, I'm right down the road. I'm right down the road.
Exactly. Then it's okay. Doesn't matter.
As long as it's not cloudy.
Yeah.
Did you got glasses? You got your glasses?
I don't care at all. Like,
oh, you're not gonna even.
I'll be at work. I'm at work. I'll go outside. Go, cool, and then resume my life as if it never happened.
You gonna pull a Trump and be like,
yeah,
burnt retinas.
Look at it raw.
Raw. Anyway, John, yeah, Gideon Falls, every issue, didn't understand it, but loved every second of it. All right, let's keep going. Next up, Sacrificers, issue number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity or more confusion?
Zero clarity. Zero clarity.
Okay.
So, in a lot of ways, this was good issue. Like, it was a really good issue because it was a nice little character study in like I don't know, sort of like her background and like what's going on. But we really didn't get we got absolutely no plot progression. As far as plot goes, we find out she survived. She runs away from these dogs. She runs up a cliff. That's it.
That's it.
That's all that happens in the plot.
Okay.
She wakes up, she runs from dogs, and she runs up a cliff.
Nice.
So as far as plot goes, boo-boo. Like, well, come on. Yeah, I need more than this. But we get a little bit more backstory of like her motivations and like I think what this really is supposed to be is showing Sol Luna like at her worst and her trying to use the motivations of her mother's teachings to like overcome the darkness that she's in and stuff like that, except at the very end this like really crazy almost venom like inky substance chases her and like goes into her mouth, and like I don't know what it is about like mouth things like this that like fuck me up, but I really hate that shit.
I mean, it's not. It's unnatural.
Very unappealing.
It's very it doesn't make you feel good.
And that like sucks into her body and then makes her trip, and she falls over the edge of a. Right now, she's in free fall.
Okay.
So, well, there's that. We kind of see the ramifications a little bit of her mom destroying the moon, because now there's an entire city that is about to be 100% wiped out in like 1,000-foot tidal wave. Like literally the god of the oceans. The king wakes up the god of the oceans and he's like, hey, we need help. And the guy's like, oh, who disturbs me? Like, you leave my people alone. Gets angry. He's like, this is enough. And he like goes to throw his hands up and it's just like a tidal wave. It's all dead.
Okay. Respect.
So it was a little choppy. Not the best Sacrificers ever, but it was still, I mean, I'm saying that, but it was still good. Like it's still,
I think,
Remender doing this thing.
I think there were a lot of books this week that were good, but were a bit choppy. Like I think if there was a word to describe this week in a not in a negative connotation, but it was a bit choppy.
It was a bit choppy.
Yep. All right. Speaking of choppy, we got Void Rivals issue number 8. And I wouldn't say choppy, but again, we knew this guy was coming, right? This super soldier.
Proximus.
Yeah. Perfectly fine. But again, it didn't, outside of what happened at the end, it just didn't feel like we moved like an inch, because we knew this was coming. And so the revelations outside of the ending were kind of meh, And again, I love this book. I enjoyed reading it. Did it go quickly? Yes. Did I want more from it? 100%. But with one of our main characters, potentially, spoiler alert if you don't want to hear it, 3, 2, 1 is dead, then whoa, you know what I'm saying? And like we've been given little glimpses on the covers of like what's potentially happening to this character. I kind of hope that's not the case, but it looks like that's where we're going with the character, which will be kind of sad because I kind of like this. I like it, but again, I'm wait and see kind of moment, right? But I want to get back to this idea that these two planets have been in cahoots the whole time, and they're perpetuating this this conflict that's actually fake, but it's what makes their worlds turn so that they can keep control, right? Yeah. I want more of that, and I'm not saying that what we're reading isn't interesting. It's exciting, but just like with Wind, right? Like we got a little glimpse into like some lore, and then we never got it again. And so I hope we're not doing that with Void Rivals. We're like, here's a little breadcrumb, but then we're gonna go back to this. And I'm not saying this is bad. It's fine, but I want more of that. I want more conflict. I want more of the inner workings and the political workings between these two planets, and the top to struggle a little bit, right? Because their way of control would appear to be starting to crumble with these two individuals, right? They know the truth, and there's a group that knows the truth. So yeah, I'm wanting more of that right now.
Yeah. John actually brings up the point that I was just about to bring up, was that I do think it was pretty cool, the revelation that, I guess we didn't technically get it revealed, but that's her brother, right? Proximus is her brother, definitely her brother. And like that adds intrigue.
God bless you.
I want to just, I guess, build upon what you said, because I agree. Huh. The success that I think that this story is built on is the world and the world building and the stuff that's going on big picture. And what Kirkman is trying to tell us is the story that's small picture.
Right.
And using the big picture stuff to fill that in. I don't think any of us really want that. These two characters and their stories aren't that, at least not yet. And we just got big additions. There's a secret brother who's half destroyed, half blown up, living in a vat of whatever, who's the deadliest machine ever. And I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to know about these two individual stories. I'm not really interested in.
Well, I'll say this. I think at the beginning of the book, when the struggle with them on the planet and being marooned, like,
right,
that dictated the importance, right? Mm-hmm. And where they're at now, it just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't seem. I'm not as interested. You put them in another like focused arc like that, then 100% we're there. Because like when they do have, when the male main character has his quips, like they're good, right? But we're just kind of in this weird limbo space where we're wanting something from over here, but we're all the way down here, Yeah. And we just we need to find a middle where we can get all of it and just hit a sweet spot, Like I feel like a book that's doing well or doing that well within the Energon universe is Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers. Like we get a little bit of everything in that book. You get the character development, you get the lore, you get the nostalgia, you get the story pace and movement. And I don't know, like I'm sure a couple issues from now we're both gonna be like, what were we complaining about? Because I'm sure it'll happen. But
well, I mean, I still gave the damn book 4 out of 5 stars.
It was good.
Like, I also want to say, lastly, at least for my bit of this book, is the art is good. Like the line art is good, but the colorist is the one that is absolutely destroying the visuals in this book. And I don't, obviously, like colorists aren't as sexy as the main artists. We don't mention their names as much, but like, I actually had it pulled up here because like we don't really know colorist's name, but like Patricio Del Pesce is, to me, is like the number one driving force on the art. Like This book doesn't feel the same without his coloring.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep moving on. All right, jumping over to Marvel, we're going to kick it off with the Avengers issue number 12, a Fall of the House of X tie-in. You know, it's odd me saying this because usually I'm the one complaining about it. Get out of the timeline, right? Just get out of the timeline and the specifics of why they are showing up now and not earlier, right? Just whatever. But you know, essentially this entire, huh?
I said it smells like cherries in here.
Anyway,
you're cherry picking.
No, I'm just I can get mad about it. I'm not going to waste my time. You know, I'm just not going to waste my time. You know what it's clearly filler. It's an explanation to why the team wasn't there earlier because, you know, Tony wanted the X-Men to line all their chess pieces up in a row in order to execute the plan properly. Sure, whatever. But all this issue is just, you know, the team being badass and calculated and Orcus not being able to figure it out until the end. And their answer is send a bunch of Omega Iron Man Sentinels up to the city ship. And what's going to happen is they're going to get there and then the city ships are like defenses, meow, and just cut them like, you know, cut them, you know, like a razor, and that'll be it. Right. That's where we're headed. Like there's nothing dramatic is going to happen. Right. That's it. That's what it is. Now, on a base level of the issue, the team fighting the way they are, great. Now we know and we have known that McKay can write this group fighting either by themselves or as a team, and they do it really well. Great. Love it. I think everybody's voice is there. I don't think McKay does a bad job. He still has my trust in writing this group. Oh yeah. And, you know, so that's it. I mean, this wasn't really, you know, it was what it was. It's just a bunch, you know, strategic punching. Like that's what this issue is. Yeah, it's fine.
It was easy filler stuff. Like, yeah, I'm not filler. Too upset about it. I will say.
Agreed, John.
Damn it. I keep closing the pages before I need them.
Why you do that?
The fill-in artist, Mortorino, did a wonderful job. I feel like I was 4 or 5 pages in, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a villa. Like, what's going on here?
Right.
I think they did a fantastic job. I do want to know your opinion on one thing.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Yuna's inclusion in the story here?
So the girl with the negabands?
Yes.
I don't care. I don't. Like, I mean, that happened a couple times this week where there was a callback to someone else's book. And in some instances, it's incredibly effective. And in other instances, it's not. And I think what that speaks to is more of what is the writer, the material that they're calling back. Do you enjoy it? Is it effective? Or is it something that you don't really care about? And currently, with the current Captain Marvel book, we don't really care about the Captain Marvel book. Like, we just haven't. And we don't like saying that. I don't like saying that because I enjoy the character. I enjoy the writer. The book's just not doing it for me right now. So when she shows up, I'm like, I mean, I guess I get it. Like, for me, I understand this character, but anyone that's not reading Captain Marvel, the way it's presented, I don't think anyone's going to go, fuck, I need to go read Captain Marvel because what's up with these negabands? Like, it didn't come off across this way, across that way. Whereas, and we'll get into it in a minute, but with Al Ewing, he makes literal references to characters, and they're just text references. There is no, they're not in the book. They don't show it. And when it happened, I was like, oh, I remember Strange Academy, and I want to read that again. You know? Yeah. So I think there's different ways of playing to referencing content, either old or current content. And in this one, it was like the editor was like, hey, McKay, can you just like make this reference? Because potentially that could get people to go read Captain Marvel. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm reading it and I'm even like, I don't care. Like, I don't. I
wonder how much of this was editorial involvement or Jed McKay
Just
like,
being nice.
just being like, hey, here's a little nod
Could
to
be.
you on like.
Could be, but it didn't do anything. For
If
me.
it was that, I like it. If it was editorial,
Yeah.
then I don't.
Sure.
I mean, I will say I'm such a sucker for continuity. I would say, yeah, okay,
I mean, it's nice.
yeah,
It's nice.
it's really small. I just was curious your opinion.
Yeah. Now, I'm very interested to hear your opinion on this book. So we got Deadpool from Cody Ziegler, new #1. Overall, I liked it,
Mhm.
but I had some issues.
Okay.
And my issues are cherry picking what you want to keep and get rid of when it comes to what Deadpool just went through. I am not a fan.
Great.
Well, I'm just not a fan of completely wiping out Deadpool's love interest.
What?
At the end of the most recent series from Alyssa Wong,
Mhm.
he is dating. I don't remember their name.
Valentine?
Correct.
Don't
They are dating.
break up at the end of her run.
I don't know. They're still together.
Oh, really?
I'm almost positive they're still together.
Okay. I
Double
might have
check.
missed that.
I thought they
No,
were.
I think you're right. And
They're-
now I'm mad.
They're together. And so when we get in this book, we're like, oh, we broke up. She dumped me. And, and I'm like, wait, whoa. That was a cool character. And again, I get it. It's
Okay.
Cody Ziegler can do whatever he wants. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to stick to it. He could have completely dropped everything. Right. But no, we got rid of Valentine and we still stick with the symbiote dog, which I'm totally cool with, even though I'm not really a big symbiote fan.
Oh, I love the dog though.
Yeah,
their
no, the dog's
relationship is great.
And I thought everything in this book was great. The thing that bugged me was that we just dropped Valentine. Like we have to put Cody Ziegler was like in my story, he is a heartbroken father who is drowning his his being dumped in violence. Is that great? Is that cool? Yes, it is. But I'm not happy about it.
Okay, so let me hit you with this one.
Okay.
I did see an interview and I didn't understand then. That's why I didn't mention it. Now I understand. I
Okay.
did see an interview where that is brought up. And he says someone was basically like, we don't see Valentine listed on any sort of inclusion into your book. Do you have plans for her, or are we moving on that plotline?
For them.
He just kind of smiled and winked and said, "Don't worry. For fans that like her or that like them, they will appear."
Okay.
And so it's probably, hopefully, this is hopeful. I don't obviously don't, but
Right.
hopefully this is what Cody has decided to use as a launching pad for his story, and then include them later in however way. I agree, though. Even if they do come back, I just would have liked to see that continue. But also at the same time, when you're a writer, you want to do your own.
Right. No.
You want to establish your own stuff.
I'm not saying I'm holding it against the book. I'm just kind of disappointed. It's just kind of and also the shit, it feels like the tone has shifted. This book feels incredibly different than the most recent run. And again, writers are allowed to do that, right? But when you have elements from the previous book in here, it just felt a little off. Did I enjoy the book? Yes, I love Deadpool. I thought, it just felt like there was a little bit more of a Deadpool that I'm not used to seeing, which is one that is the whole daughter, bringing the daughter back into it. I don't have a problem with it, but it doesn't feel like Deadpool to me. That epilogue at the end where he goes to see her at her foster family, and it's just he's kind of sad, and I'm like, no, he should be making a butthole joke right now. You know what I mean? It's just,
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that? At the end of the book, he goes.
Yeah.
So at one point,
comics, man.
at one point in the middle of the book, he's on his phone, I think, getting ready to call his daughter, and then someone shoots him or something, whatever. But then at the end of the book, there's an epilogue, and it's him visiting his daughter at the the foster family or whatever, and they have this sweet moment, and it just it didn't feel like Deadpool for some reason. I don't know. Am I going to continue reading it? 100%. I'm not like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, no, I'm on. But there are just some creative decisions for me personally that, and again, like you said, Ziegler did a interview, and I'm sure at some point elements are going to come back. But like Deadpool #1 from Alyssa Wong, we were both like floored. I think it was actually our pick of the week when it came out. We were like,
I wasn't really
what?
interested in picking up a Deadpool book, and when I read that, I was like,
right.
Okay.
And like this issue to me, it kind of feels like a step back, in my opinion. I'm not shitting on it. I'm not saying it's a horrible book.
Nope.
It just kind of feels like a step back. Well, I'm going to continue it 100%. John, I find most Deadpool comics to be all over the place. I like this book more than anything I read in the last run, mostly because of the humor. The foil cover is killer.
I think it really just depends on how the humor lands for you. If a Deadpool run is going to be for you.
Right. Let me, I want to pull that up and see it.
I got to go take care of something really quick.
No, you're good. Oh, it's the Unhook Lee, too. Holy shit, that is dope, dude. Look at that. I didn't see that at the shop, but I was kind of in and out, so maybe, I don't know. That's pretty dope. I just get really leery sometimes with Deadpool covers, specifically because, like, you know, Liefeld, when he does his, you know, because it's his character, right? But like when he does his covers now, like it's a total turn off. So I get, this is a dope cover. 1 in 100. That's insane. That looks great. Yeah, there's some good covers. That's a Ryan Stegman. Nice. Yeah, like Deadpool to me, you know, and there's gonna be, ooh, dang, Fan Expo variant. That is fucking sick. Ooh, that's cool. Like that. But yeah, anyway, Deadpool for me, I think, you know, his popularity is high at the moment, right? But at the same time, like, I feel like it's about to go through the fucking roof when Deadpool 3 comes out. Like, there's such high hopes for that movie. I really hope. I mean, I believe it will do great, but there's a chance that it All right, next up, we have Immortal Thor, issue #9 from Al Ewing, and we are getting, you know, we've been getting meta, but we got even meta-er, you know, in this book. I don't know. I liked it, and I'm very interested to see where we're gonna go and where we're pushing it. You know, it's clear that Ewing isn't fucking around. Like, he definitely has a master plan. It isn't just kind of, you know, shooting at the hip. It definitely feels calculated. And so I'm very eager to see where it goes. You know, you've got a Thor that's very conflicted in knowing what's going to happen, and still yet he tries to change it anyway, you know, because that's just who Thor is. Like, you don't tell Thor no. So, you know, I liked the issue. I thought it was great. I liked Enchantress kind of just subtly doing her thing. You know, this Roxas, or however you call it, corporation, just really owning the concept of Thor and getting meta. You know, I think I don't feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, Nate, but I don't believe, outside of, because meta is different than referencing old content or other runs, right? And that's where we get into this issue. Like, Strange Academy and Enchantress's sons are referenced literally in speech bubbles, and it made me feel giddy, right? Whereas we actually got a physical visual representation of Alyssa Wong's Captain Marvel comic book and Jed McKay's Avengers, and I was like, whatever, you know, like, so there's something to it, and in the sense of how the writer captures that kind of engagement when it comes to referencing old or current material. And I thought it was executed very well in this issue. But I am excited to see where this whole idea of Thor's world getting turned upside down, quite literally, in publishing his own comic. Like, that's incredibly meta.
Right. Well, that's kind of the whole point, right? Is like, being self-referential, or being referencing the state of being in which you are doing inside the thing you are doing it is the type of meta that we're doing here, and I think it's kind of wild. Like, especially someone on League left this as a review, but Al Ewing doing a Thor comic about how it's genuinely fucked up that Marvel exercises the copyright on Thor may be the ballsiest thing I've seen in mainstream comics. And like, I mean, that's literally what we're doing. Al Ewing pitched a Thor run where he openly mocks Marvel and a ton of other people, capitalists, people that pirate comics. Like there's a lot of things he really like.
Movies.
And he doesn't just like, hey, put this up there. He like, it's on the nose. Like, it is really on the nose. And someone at Marvel is just like, go for it, man. Yeah,
do whatever you want.
We can be cool with this stuff. You know, like we recognize our faults, and it's we'll own up to it. I don't know.
You know, it's not that at all. It's somebody didn't pay attention, and then someone writes an article on CBR or Yahoo or whatever, and then it comes across their desk, and they're like, wait, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. I mean, I don't want to say there's no way, but there is definitely that idea, and we've dealt with it before when we've gone to, when we used to work together. Like, there's always that one person within the corporation or organization that's like, yeah, and then you do it, and then they're like, wait, what did we do? We're like, you said yes, you know?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was that. I was gonna say. Lost that train of thought. I'm interested to see like where like I'm at first I was like about the one-off issue that fits between 9 and 10, and now I'm just like, no, I'm there.
At first my wallet was dictating I wasn't picking it up, and now I'm like, I'm picking it up. For sure.
Also, what's the artist name? Robertson is doing a kick-ass job of filling in for like. Nice.
There are weeks.
Very nice.
There are weeks where the fill-in artist is like, I mean, I'm just not doing it, and this week was not that week. Like,
no, this was not that week at all.
We were doing great. All right, next up. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. It's no brainer.
All right, moving on.
Shut up. Love the issue. I like this triangle / lovers quarrel that we're dealing with, that Rainbow Rowell is establishing. I will say, and I'm sure that this is in your notes, but for Jack to just be like, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, I don't think it's a flaw, and let me defend it, because I feel like I have to. You know,
go for it. I mean, yeah. If you want to try, you go for it.
No, I'm gonna try. You know, with John, here we go. You know, with Jack, it's very clear. You know, this entire episode that we've been kind of growing with him. You know, he started off not having his powers, right? And then slowly but surely, he's become back to being the Jack of Hearts that he knows himself to be. And within his lore of a character, which again, we are both experiencing new, right? We have our experience with Jack of Hearts is, that's a funny looking character. Who the hell is it? I would never read that comic, right? That was when we got into this, because I remember Ron being like, you got to get into Jack of Hearts. And we were like, why? He's like, because he's my favorite character. And then he showed him to us and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, like we never took Ron up on that. And then Rainbow Rowell's like, you should really check it out. We're like, oh, we should listen to Ron. And so you've got this character who is in a continuous rotation of finding himself again. And what's the name of the character? Is it Ganymede? What's the name of the
Ganymede?
Ganymede. When Ganymede shows up, right? It's like it's almost as if Jack is in the state of nonverbal amnesia, right? These things from his past just keep on popping up in front of him. And this one's massive. This is huge because he quite literally gave himself to her in his lore, right? Like, he was going to marry her, but her oath didn't allow it. So what did he do? He was the knight. He fought alongside her until he couldn't, until they got separated. The rest is history. Now you're in, and again, I'm not defending Jack at all, because I think what he did in this issue was a total dick ass move. Like, totally trash. No, it's trash, because Jen's my girl. I'm gonna have her back no matter what. It doesn't matter. Like, I feel for her, right? So when Getting Me is like, no, you're mine now, bitch. Like, you're coming with me, right? And we don't. And who knows? In the next issue, we may get the other side of the story, and she's got a knife to his back, going like, "You're coming with me, because after I go on my quest, I'm going to fuck you." Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, she's got her man now, right? And so we don't know. Like, there could be an unseen panel that Rambo is saying, you know what? I'm not showing you this right now. You're gonna get it later on. Is that wishful thinking? 100%. I don't give a fuck, because I love this book, and I will die on this cross no matter what. But just the slice of life aspect, I say it every time to this book, just gets better and better and better every issue. And we got more of it. The scene of Jen in bed waiting for Jack to show up from the bar, and her, like, just the conversation and the internal thought, like, I waited for him hoping that he'd show up immediately. He didn't.
Right.
And then she has, like, she's, because Jen is so, she's vulnerable, but she's strong too. And she's not going to take shit from anybody. She's like, what are we? Let's just get this over with. Is this an issue or what? And then, Jack makes his explanation. She goes, you got some thinking to do. And it was just like, damn, that's fucking awesome. Like I felt the conversations felt powerful. They felt human. They felt real.
Yeah. Well,
I liked it. I loved it.
I think the part that I liked about it the most is we're not just doing like a space opera or drama with like over the top, like, I don't know how to put it, like reality TV, like melodrama stuff. Like, not only does it feel like real people, but like these were like really level-headed, articulate responses from like adults that know how to handle situations. You know what I mean? Like the way to build drama would have been for She-Hulk to like flare up like she's about to hit him or like, do something.
Right.
And then when she was like, "Oh, this is kind of a crazy situation. You might need to cut that out."
Yeah, like you need to
that's
figure
a very
shit out.
adult, real. Like most of us aren't capable of that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think that makes it feel even more real.
But then you get at the end of the issue, you've got almost that situation happening where you've got Getting Me going like, "Now we're throwing hands." Like, and
Well,
obviously, right? She has right. She has her oath now, but I think there's some of this like subconscious underlining. Bless you. Underlining. What's the word I'm looking for? Not issue, but motivation behind her striking her, right? Because like Jack's her guy. Like Jax was, that's her guy first. Even though that's unfair, things move on.
But that's not why she struck, right? That's
no, not whatsoever. But I think as a reader, there is a subcontext below it, thinking like, well, there might be a little malice in that staff. There might be a little bit in that lunge. There might be like, but also he's mine, and you're not taking him away from me. Like, I feel like, and that's just me as a reader, because it's not outlined. It is not at all portrayed within any form of text or visuals that's the case. But I have to imagine, when she saw him, she's like, holy shit, it's Jack, right? And he's with another girl, like he's with another woman, like pissed, you know what I mean? And now the door's open. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna figure out a way for him to be with me. And so, that's just my interpretation of it. And we'll see. Like that's the beauty of this comic, is that not a lot of the comics this week do that. They don't allow for that type of dialogue within your brain to happen. And I think that's just a massive compliment and a massive one-up for Rainbow Rowell. Like, she is awesome. She's killing it. So I pick the week. I didn't have to defend it, but I felt like I had. Like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, I have to.
What I want to know is what you think Jack does.
Dude, I don't know. Like I think that's the beauty of it. Is like I think he's gonna do this, right? But there's another part of me. There's another part of me that stops her, that like literally like stops her midair and goes like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like you have to stop." But if I had to put money on it, I think he's hands up. I think he's gonna like. I think Rainbow is about to break our hearts. Like she is going to destroy this character, and she's also going to do
that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to destroy the character. I think she's going to want them to be around in some capacity eventually. I would not be surprised if Jack somehow intervenes and stops the fight in some way.
Right.
And then goes, you know what? I'm still figuring myself out. I can't be doing this. I'm going to go let off some radiation and I'll talk to y'all later. Like, and then we don't see him for like an entire arc.
Which is a bitch ass move. It's a bitch ass move. Own up, bro.
Bitch ass move by who?
By Jack.
Oh, well, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the story arc of She-Hulk, right? Like, we know how this is going to end, right? Like, I think we know. Like, Jen is gonna be heartbroken. She's gonna put herself into her work, whether that's being a lawyer or accepting the invitation to be an Avenger with Captain Marvel. Like, that's the heartbreak. That's the arc. I don't know. Maybe I hope I'm wrong, but Jen doesn't seem to always she never really gets the happy ending.
Yeah, she doesn't. And that's what makes the story keep going.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on, I want to hear your opinion, but I also want to hear your opinion. Take She-Hulk out. Pretend this isn't She-Hulk. Pretend it's Jane Doe.
Okay.
Everything's the same except it's Jane Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a scenario where Jack choosing Ganymede is the right decision? Or is he always the asshole for doing that? Or, I mean, I guess he's kind of an asshole no matter what. But, like, do you allow space for that decision being okay?
To me, it's all based on how... I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say I think it all depends on what Jen wants.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Jen... I think... she's already shown that she's the adult, right? Because of the conversation she had with
isn't
Jack.
Jen. Nope, this isn't Jen.
I understand.
Okay.
He's going to be the ass no matter what. But what's going to make the reader feel somewhat better about the situation is that initial response from Jen will be like, you do you, boo, right? But then the last page will be Jen crying, will be Jen heartbroken and left in shambles. Sure. But taking Jen out, I think Jack will be the ass. What do you think? How do you feel about it?
I am asking a non-comic question. I'm asking philosophically. This is like literally. This is like if you thought your wife was dead, and you tried to move on with your life, and then 10 years later she comes back and is like, I was deserted in the mountains and I survived and I finally got rescued. Like, are you the asshole for dumping this girl you've been with for 10 years?
No, because you thought she was dead. You weren't Cyclops and adamantly knew, you know what I'm saying? No, you thought she was dead.
Yeah.
What do you do?
The answer is, well, you don't want to know what I do. I can't say that.
Okay, okay.
My answer is both. I choose both.
Oh shit.
No, it feels like his devolution. Would he be a jackass? Yes, absolutely. Yes, he would be a jackass.
I don't know, dude. And that's why this book is great, because we're having that conversation. No other book is doing that right now. It's just not. So, all right, let's keep moving. Moon Knight issue number 4. Great character study of Hunter's Moon. We get a revelation of who this guy is. I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is either.
Like, if I had to,
the Shroud.
I don't know who that is. And chat, let me know, like, who's the Shroud? Because I don't know who that is. And Jed McKay wasn't like, hey, go find out who the Shroud is. Like, he may be an old, but I don't know.
I was looking at reviews on League just to see what someone else said, and I don't even know who that is.
There you go.
Yep. That's accurate.
Artwork, great. Character study, great. Reveal, hook, kind of flat.
Kind of flat.
There's
Which is
that's
weird.
yeah, and I'm sure. Is it fatigue because we're getting ready to do a giant, big huge event that McKay's got to write, or is it just what is it? I don't know. I just don't know. Like I wasn't.
You know what?
It flatlined for me.
It's Jed McKay, and we gotta let him cook. We don't. You know
100%.
what? We just tasted the soup without all the seasoning, and we gotta just
Listen,
keep letting him go.
I'm not jumping off by any means. I'm just
Of course
saying
not.
when the book ended, it wasn't what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like that's
I'm
the
trying to
gist of it.
see. This is a guy that we've seen. He's had some appearances. He's been around. This is just a hole in our Marvel comic book because it seems like he's been around enough. Looks like he was a pretty big player in Civil War.
Okay.
I think he's got some old school appearances, like old school Cap, the original Spider-Woman series, the 70s Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. So I think he's an old.
John, I was engaged the entire time until the very last page. I don't know who the Shroud is. Like the whole thing, like them going after him in the middle of the day, and like Tigra just being like, "Nah, bitch, like this, I am done." Like 100% I was there, and for Hunter's Moon to connect the dots on his fighting style because of the previous moons in him, and being that history he can call back on, and saying he'd go insane a million times just to catch the killer, like dope. It's just that very last page I was like, who's the Shroud? Like again, there's a way, there's different ways in and I'm not trying to I feel like I'm defending. I'm not. I'm just my opinion. There are ways to convey to the reader that you're not supposed to know who this is, and there are smart ways to do it, and then there are ways that I perceive, in my opinion, to be kind of lazy. And it didn't hit for me at the end. I was like, oh, it's the Shroud. Who's that? And it wasn't like I didn't go, holy shit, who is that? It was, wait, who am I supposed to know who that is? Who is that? That's how it came across in my opinion.
Looks like he was also a big time West Coast Avengers baddie.
Okay, so he is not new. It is someone that
No. I'm looking here. He's probably got like 100 issues that he's appeared in. Like that's what I'm saying. This is kind of a hole in our Marvel.
Right. Maybe that's the problem. That's just on us then. I'm glad Moon Knight was in Zodiac. I agree. By the way, McKay's Doctor Strange is heating up. God damn it.
Apparently he was randomly in issue 7 of the this run, but just like the previous one. I don't even remember him being in that one.
Exactly. Like that's the problem. All right, let's keep moving. X-Men issue number 33. We're drawing to the end. And
we've been drawing to the end for 6 goddamn months.
This is a perfectly fine issue. We're closing up. We're loose ends are being tied up. Doom's X-Men show up, and as always, someone on the X-Men are trying to.
I'm sorry. Did you say Doom?
Yeah, Doom has his own X-Men. Yeah, that was established a while ago. Wolverine tries to recruit them.
I remember.
Tries to recruit them, and they're like, nah, and he's like, you'll see, we'll see, and I'm sure we will see. It does feel like, and remind me, Nate, I don't know, I feel like there might have been the storyline. Does Magneto at some point try to hurl a meteorite into Earth?
Oh yeah, asteroid M. Mm-hmm.
Asteroid M, okay. That also happens in Gundam, where a colony is used to wipe out Earth. So it feels like that's what we're about to do with Sentinel City. Like that just to me is what we're about to do. We're about the Sentinels and the AI are going to launch Sentinel City and then drop it on Earth. Like that's what feels like we're about to do. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I wish Lass was here to see what he thought. But again, you've got the X-Men doing their thing, and fighting the war, and that's all this is. Like, there's nothing crazy. It's just just what we're doing, you know. You know, I'm sure we'll get a where are they now when McKay takes over and he's established his lore, and it'll be very interesting to see where we go with that. I am still in the vein that X-Men is going back to the 90s. You know, with the popularity of X-Men 97, I just think that's where we're headed. But we'll see. I enjoyed the issue. The issue was fine. It was better than, in my opinion, the fall of the House of X. That book just feels rushed. This feels more, I don't know, better. Thank you guys for reading X-Men X books. You do it so I don't have to.
That's all.
Yeah,
carrying that way.
Yeah, that's just me. But all right, let's keep moving. Let's jump over to DC with Batman issue number 146 from Chip Zdarsky Jimenez, and I think there was another artist in the flashback or the history.
Yeah, that was Michelle Bandini.
I liked it. I thought it was good. It does feel like we are. Well, I don't know. We talked about it, right? The solicitations for July make it feel like we might be ending Chip's run.
To a close? I don't know.
But that being said, this whole, like, I feel like, and this is going to be crazy for me to say, but it almost feels like we need a big Batman event to really wrap up this fail-safe version of Batman. Because what he's doing, I feel like, is so, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's just a spit in the face of Batman, right? Like, he's getting the job done that Bruce could never do, which is just being a hardline asshole and locking up everybody. Even the people that were criminals but are no longer criminals, but hey, you're probably going to do something bad, so I'm locking you up anyway, aka Harley Quinn. And when that happened, I was like, oh God, no. Please don't let this be the flip coin moment where she goes back to being a baddie because of a robot of Batman. And it feels very evident that that's what's about to happen.
Oh, like, no, I don't think so at all.
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
No.
I hope I'm wrong.
Especially not because they've got, I don't remember who's on the book now, if it's Phillips or Howard or something, but they've got something cooking over there with her book. I don't think,
because like I like Harley Quinn as a good guy or as an anti-hero. I just think it works. We got too many bad clown girls. Punchline.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
I will be honest that my favorite thing about Jimenez draw Punchline. I miss those Tinian days, man.
It reminded me of it.
This is Chip, and I love it, but like, man, I just really miss those Tinian.
Yeah, I agree.
This felt good to me, but it almost feels cluttered a little bit. Feels a little cluttered. It's almost like Chip's like holding this up and it's like, look at all this shit, right? This is awesome. And you're like, oh man, there's a lot of awesome shit in here, but can you move this along the way so I can see that?
Well, I think that's why I get the feeling that we should have an event, because you've got the Bat family like struggling to figure out if this is really Batman. Then you got Damian, who's just being a total and utter dumbass.
Yeah, I'm also very curious, by the way, what the implications are for the Batman and Robin book and what's happening here. Like, are we just gonna pretend like nothing,
100%,
any sort of way?
Yep.
Like,
dude, come on. Williamson does not play the rules. He does not play. He does his own goddamn thing.
I mean, yeah, you're right, and I get that, but like,
and what'll happen? What'll happen is we'll be reading that book, right? And then they'll be at a soccer game, right? And Damian kicks the ball, and it hits the crossbar and flies toward the crowd, and Bruce goes pink, and he'll have a metal hand, and then it'll say read Chip Zdarsky's Batman to find out why Batman has a metal hand, and that'll be it. I guarantee you.
Sure, I mean, I don't need any sort of like massive. I don't know.
That'll be it.
I just think that there's like going to be like there's got to be like big ramifications that Damian would support his dad in this way. I think Bruce, that would have negative implications on their relationship, and for that to like, you have to acknowledge that in the Batman and Robin book, right?
No, well, yeah, and the acknowledgement will be it'll be like they'll be jumping on a rooftop and some joke will be made and Bruce will be like, oh, it's like the last, like when you when you supported the robot version of me that had my ultimate, and it'll be like, God, that's fucking stupid. Like that's what'll happen.
If that's what'll happen, I'll be very upset.
It's
that would probably get me to stop reading Batman.
I wouldn't put it past Williamson because, like, again, McKay is what we wanted Williamson to be. But let's get back to this book. You're right. Jimenez's drawings were like, dude, like the expression on Punchline's face when she sees the Joker, and then when she flicks the switch, I was like, dude, this feels so good. It feels so good. I liked it. I'm interested to see where it goes, and I kind of hope it doesn't end. I will say that for sure. All right, I believe, yeah, this is our last book of the night, and we got Birds of Prey issue number 8, and I will say it right now. This issue, though still somewhat confusing, was way better than issue 7. Issue 7 was a cluster, but 8 I felt like had some semblance of a story, and it felt connected to Babs can't go on missions because if she does, she dies, and then
Babs goes on missions,
and then she gets sucked into a portal, and you're like, and I'm also interested. So, did you still find the art in this book not appealing
last time?
Yeah. Because I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I liked the previous, like I loved the previous artist. I thought it was great. But where the book is now, I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's an improvement. I like it. That's all I'm trying to say is I like it. I think it looks great.
Yeah. I think it's growing on me a little bit, but also that doesn't matter because the next 3 issues we have. So
fuck me. I knew it. I was like, I feel too good about this.
3 different artists in a row. So just, the one thing I will say that I really liked issue and when it pertains to art is how big it felt because of how many massive double splash pages it had. I really thought that was neat. I thought that was like it set the tone for the book, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to count how many times we did that.
The best part of this book is Barda thinking that her outfit is bugged, so she fights naked. And the censorship, the unintentional and intentional censorship throughout the book of Barda fighting was.
It's just like literally a sticker. It's like it looked.
That
like
was great.
When I saw that in post,
that's so good. Like I thought this was great. This was a great book. Visually I thought on par.
Yeah, but like six of our 14 double pages were all splash pages. Like that was really cool. And out of those, we had like 4, single pages. Here's the
sticker's so fucking.
I thought that was a very different and unique way to do the art. So I was much more pleased.
I agree. Totally agree. Anyway, great book. I also liked Sin having an argument with the devil thing that's inside of her, and it's like trying to drink alcohol, and she's like, we're not old enough. I thought that was good too.
Yeah.
So, much better than issue 7, I'll say that. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this issue of Two Fat Guys Pull List 169. Thank you for everybody that watched this live or is watching this as a past episode. We do really appreciate it. Catch us this Tuesday for another new comic book day. It's shaping up to be a pretty decent one. There's some good looking books. Let me double check. I'll just make sure I'm not talking out my ass. Oh yeah. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4 books that I'm like super excited about. So, John says you guys still find a copy of Geiger, Redcoat, and Rook. I have Rook. I need to read Rook. But yeah, I definitely need to check it out. I'm probably gonna read it after we film New Comic Book Day. But yeah, next week it's gonna be great. Got some good stuff, but you'll have to catch it Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we'll talk about New Comic Book Day, and then we'll be back again live, where we'll talk about all those books and more. But again, we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to our members, John, Patty, Holden, and we have one more, and I'm totally missing it. Oh no. Hey, we have another member. I feel bad.
I don't know what the list is.
Oh my god. Thank you to all our members. And if I didn't say your name, I'm sorry. I will put it on a little sticky note right there with all y'all's names. But thank you so much for watching. And thank you, John, again for the super chat. And we'll catch you guys next Sunday. Well, Tuesday, then Sunday. And if anything breaks, that's just like we gotta fucking make a video. You'll see it here first, and and you'll get it. But as always, fam, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll catch you guys later. Bye. John, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Sundays are great.